Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome to my podcast, We Share, We Grow. I'm your host and holistic coach, Aoife Rafter. If you want to be empowered to take action in your self-development journey, then you are in the right place. We Share, We Grow will bring you closer to reaching your full potential through sharing and growing from the life-changing advice of my favourite health and wellness experts. I believe that we grow through what we go through, and together we can become abundant in all aspects of health and wellness despite our health challenges. I'm so excited to be part of your self-development journey, just as so many of you have been part of mine. So let's do this. Let's share and grow together. Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome to season 1 of my new podcast, We Share, We Grow. I am very excited to introduce my new guest, someone who has helped me in becoming more accountable for my health in so many different ways. She has begun her health journey through the world of fitness and is a former world amateur and professional European kettlebell athlete. She then began building her business as a fitness coach here in Wexford, training adults and teens. Her business successfully kept growing right until we hit the obstacle of the 2020 pandemic, which forced her to close the doors to her in-person classes and move her business online. She has recently had a spiritual awakening, leading her on the path of mind, body, and soul coaching. Her business has evolved immensely over the past couple of years, and it has been such a pleasure to witness and support her in this. Please welcome this phenomenal woman and a sweet friend of mine, Miss Clara O'Connor. Welcome, Clara.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Eva.
So glad to finally get you here.
Yes.
We had to rearrange a few little bits on both
Mhm.
sides, and I think it was totally on purpose because now is definitely the time for this conversation.
Yes, the time is right. Divine timing.
Absolutely divine timing. So yes, welcome to the podcast. What
Thank you.
a diverse and interesting background you've had, because you've really dipped your toes, I suppose, into nearly every aspect of health and wellness at this point already in your life. And I hope the introduction has done you justice. But is there anything else I missed, because your story is particularly interesting?
Yeah, I did. I started out in fitness originally, teaching classes, like attending fitness classes myself, from the age of 19. And that's when I just kind of fell in love with fitness, and all through my 20s, always attended classes and just really enjoyed the feeling of exercise. Like, I've always been connected with movement. It's just a part of me. Like, so um eventually realized then that this should be the direction that my career should go. So I was working in a solicitor's office and, you know, doing a good job, but my mind was always on fitness. So I just decided then to do the course. I think I was age 23. So I went to University of Limerick to do the fitness instructor course, and best thing I ever did. So from then, like from 2004, really, I've been teaching classes on and off over the years. Like all different types of classes, circuit training, step aerobics, all of that. And it wasn't really until around 2008 actually that I can remember being, I moved to Wexford in 2006 to be with my husband, that I discovered kettlebells in 2008. And this was just the first time I had actually seen them, and it was in Mick Kelly's gym. And I was very curious about them, and I went on to have my daughter Molly in 2010. So she's nearly 12 now. But after I had her and I wanted to get back in shape myself and get back feeling like myself, so she was about 6 months old at this stage. It just, I remembered the kettlebells and I was like, oh, I must go and give that a go. Like, that just, they were calling to me for some reason. And like, I just really found my passion with the kettlebells. Like, I could see how not only quickly they can transform your body, but I suppose as a new mom, I found like it, you kind of feel like you're swimming in a sea of bottles and nappies and clothes, and it was just like a real like outlet for your stress and everything else, and you could just go and lift this weight and feel amazing, like, because it was an 8 kilo kettlebell like that I originally started with, and I can remember feeling like, oh my god, like that's over a stone weight, and here I am lifting that, and it just made you feel so powerful and fantastic. And I mean, by the end of my kettlebell career. I was lifting two 16-kilo kettlebells at a time for 10 minutes.
Wow.
So,
Jesus.
but
Good
like
woman.
I still remember the feeling of that 8 kilo, like, and just like 8 kilo doesn't sound like a lot, but when you say that's over a stone weight and you're there swinging it around and squatting with it and stuff, it was just such a good feeling. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot, I feel like anybody from the very beginning. So I started teaching kettlebells myself, kettlebell classes in 2012. And anybody, even from the very first classes that I set up, like they still love it. Like even though they might go off and do other things, they'll always come back to the kettlebells. There's just something about them. There's a real draw with them. Really enjoyable to use. Everybody just, if you get into them, they can hook you in.
Definitely.
So I originally used them for fitness and then got into the sport training. So that was another level then of
Yeah. How did you like make
intensity.
that little jump? That like, well, it's not a little jump; it's a huge jump. To start training and like compete.
Yeah, I can remember going into McKelly's gym in town and I would be doing the classes and the training, just the fitness training with a kettlebell. And I could see the Wexford Kettlebell Club training. And I was like, oh, what are they doing down there? And he was explaining that that was the sport. There was a whole sport side of it. So you can lift a kettlebell. You can do 5 minute competitions where you lift it continuously for 5 minutes. You can only change hands once during the 5 minutes. And then whoever gets the most reps in the 5 minutes is the winner. There's different body weight
Wow.
categories. And then you progress on to 10-minute competitions. And I think the draw for me with that was like, it was a goal to work towards. So when you're going in and you're doing a class, you're doing the class, but this was like reps. You were working towards time. You were working towards it.
Yes.
Really like you can really see the progression and feel it, and then you start progressing up through the weight. So next thing you're lifting a 10-kilo kettlebell and a 12 and a 14 and a 16, and it was like the possibilities were endless. And yeah, like getting on the platform the first time was so nerve-wracking. I can remember it was a competition down in Cork, but after the first one, I mean, you're just hooked. That's it. Like the first time you do one, it's just you can't wait to get back up there again. Like, and you
Wow.
can't wait for your next training cycle because it's always, even though it's the same movement, you're always progressing to the next level. So I did, like, I mean, I stayed in the sport for a lot of years, from 2012 up to when the pandemic hit, actually.
Wow.
And so yeah, but it's very intense, like the training, especially when you get to the heavier weights. Like, I mean, I've traveled the world with it, been all over the world. I've been to Siberia. Like, when would you ever be in Siberia?
Yeah, exactly.
And remember my mom, actually, when I was younger, it was really cold, and she said, Jesus, it's like Siberia in here. And I was like, actually, Siberia wasn't that cold.
Ah,
It
there you
actually
have it
wasn't.
officially.
Yeah,
That's how
it was
cold this
actually
country can be.
kind of like Ireland, really. Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, probably. No, I can't remember that. It was November, actually, so it should have been a lot colder. But
Yeah.
I've been to Kazakhstan. Like, again, when would you ever be in
Wow.
Kazakhstan? And that was an amazing experience. Like, just it really felt like we were at the Olympics. Like, it was the one place that I would say, there and Russia were the two places that we would have felt like treated like real athletes. Like we were literally competing at the Olympics. Like the newspapers were there, the newspapers, TV cameras. They brought all in the children from the local schools, and they were getting
Wow.
autographs. And it was just an amazing setup over there. We were picked up from the airport in blacked out SUVs and driven around the
Jesus.
place. And yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, I've had some unbelievable experiences over the years. Yeah, and so now,
Wow.
like, when the pandemic hit, then I, had to move online, and it just became impossible to be teaching classes online and then sport training as well. But I think kind of at that stage, the fire was sort of going out anyway. So I
Okay.
was kind of winding down anyway, and I just still really enjoy like using them for fitness. And obviously, I do dumbbell classes as well. I do spin classes, so I like the variety now. Like, I like
Mm.
doing all different things. I feel like I did the same thing for years and years and years, and I loved every minute of it. Don't get me wrong, but now I just really enjoy doing that, all bits of everything.
You've had such a hugely diverse background. Like even all of that is, it's very inspiring because as you're saying, like Molly was so young when you started, like
Yeah,
6 months old, and you did
yeah,
all of that plus like run online classes, in person classes. Like that's incredible. Um,
yeah.
you've had such and also like a very diverse personal
Hmm.
situation, a couple of situations that I'm sure have led you to this kind of point in your life where you have discovered more about your own self
Hmm.
in relation to the mind body soul classes that you're doing and stuff like that. But if you're comfortable, we'd love to kind of delve into that a little bit more, into how you really
Hmm.
got to this point in your life.
Yeah, so like that, I feel like kind of all through my 20s and that I was kind of going all the time. I'd always keep myself going, keep myself busy, working, doing my training, all of these things. And anything that had happened in my life, like up to that point, it was like I would just kind of push it to the side. I know a lot of people do this. I just push it to the side. It's like you have this little box in the back of your brain, and you just put those things in there, and you pop the lid on, and that's in there now, and you move on. And like so, any painful experiences that came up, that's what I would do. And I'll go into them now in a second, but it's just like it just got to the point eventually where the box was full, and like the final thing that happened, the lid wouldn't go on anymore. It just kept popping off, and I was like, "Oh, there's too much in here." Like, but then at that point, I was like, how can I deal with all of this? Because there was so much had built up that where do I turn? Who like it just felt like too huge. There was too much in there, and I didn't know how I was going to actually talk to somebody about it. So it was a little bit of a process, finding the right person to talk to. I and this all came about in 2020, so like that when the lockdown happened. So and I feel like a lot of people probably went through this experience where everything stopped and you could no longer distract yourself doing this, doing that on the hamster wheel. It was like you had to sit with your feelings and your thoughts and deal with them. And I had kind of decided anyway. It was my 40th birthday in 2020, and I was like, it's just time to start looking at all of this stuff because you can't continue the rest of your life like tormented by your own thoughts. And I'd only, it only creep up on me every so often, only because I wouldn't allow it. And yeah, I just felt like I became this um tough on the exterior person and somebody who just never wanted to accept any help. I just would run myself into the ground constantly, never said no. And especially when I started my own business, I felt like I couldn't say no. So I would keep taking on more and more and more. And I was just exhausted in every area, like just every area. Um, and I had to come crashing down at some stage. And I just, yeah, I made the decision in 2020. I said, I need to do something about this. So, like from my teens, my brother had a long, like protracted history with drug misuse. So there was only a year between the two of us. And it kind of started off in secondary school. Like we actually ended up in the same year in secondary school because he did transition year and I didn't. So we ended up in fifth and sixth year together in the same school. But so we ended up going to our debs together, and that was the first time that I actually saw that he had taken drugs, and I was just like, oh my god, shocked. And it continued from there basically, like, and it was just so hard on the whole family. It doesn't just affect the person that's doing it, like everybody suffers. Like, and being so close to him because there was only a year between us, I felt like my mom and dad saw a lot of stuff, but I felt like I nearly saw more because there would be things that he wouldn't tell them or that, he might be with me and they wouldn't see. And it was just heartbreaking to watch and frustrating then as well, like, because um I don't know, in some ways, did I, like, I always worked hard, I got my own car, I'd always kind of not wanted to be the good one, but maybe I was in some ways trying to make up for the way that he was. Um And it just went down a really bad road with him to the point where he had to be put out of the house eventually. Like my mum and dad had to make a very difficult decision. And eventually he did end up going through rehab. And he ended up becoming like he never had an issue with drink, it was drugs. He was clean and sober for 10 years. So
Wow, that's
yeah, and
incredible.
it was incredible, like so incredible. And he met a girl and got married, and like I don't really want to speak too much on his personal story because it's his story, but things happened. And he I can remember him overdosing actually in when we were in our early 20s, and him being in hospital, and the doctors said that if he ever did that again, that his body wouldn't cope. So I suppose we always thought that if that meant if he ever did it at that time. So 10 years later, he started to slip again, and he ended up dying. Basically, like he started to slip, and it was like what was whatever he took to try to bring himself down. So it wasn't a suicide. It was like he took something to kind of get himself to sleep. Whatever he had taken to go up, he was
Okay.
taking something else to bring himself down, and the two things, whatever, didn't agree with each other. And so he died when he was 33. I was 32 at the time, so Molly was only two. And that was really, really tough. Really, obviously a very, very sad way to go, way too young, and just the devastation of that on all of the family. Um, so that was when I was 32. Like there was earlier than that then. So well, I was kind of in the middle of all that. Really, at the age of 22, I was seriously attacked in Cork City on a night out. And again, after that happened, I didn't really deal with it. I just again like pushed it aside and just thought, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm fine. I'm just like I'm going this way. I'm just moving forward. I'm not going back that way, and I'm okay. And just keep going. There was always this just keep going mentality. And that was when I was 22. My brother died then when I was 32.
That's so
And
much to
then,
happen in such a
yeah,
short space of time. Like,
yeah.
you really, truly must have totally suppressed that to stay alive
Oh,
and function as a human being. Like,
huge. Like you'd never know, like, to look at me. I mean, I
really,
just had this way of putting on a brave face, or
yeah.
you will when you go through things like that, like you just become a master of masking your feelings, or not even feeling your feelings. I would go so far as to say, because this is one of the reasons why it led me to that breaking point, is because um it was like sort of the next thing that happened. So I struggled with my fertility with Molly. Um, it took me 2 years to conceive Molly, and I had 6 rounds of clomid to conceive her as well. So before that, I had gone for scans and stuff, and they told me that I had polycystic ovaries. I didn't have the syndrome, but I had the polycystic ovaries. So they had put me on clomid, and it took 6 rounds to conceive her. Um, and I had a difficult pregnancy with her. I had SPD, so they call it PGP now. I think pelvic girdle pain. So from very early on, from about 16 weeks, like, so it's where your brain is secreting a hormone to tell your hips that you're ready to deliver. So they relax, like the muscles relax,
Okay.
and so it's not really, your hips are not really supporting your weight. So as I got, and I was huge. Like at the end, I was just this big massive bump. So I just had pain all the way through my pregnancy. Um, After she was born, then it was like such a relief. The pain went away, but then she developed colic. Yeah, I think she kind of like before she left the hospital nearly. So for the first 6 months as well, Molly had colic. So that was like, I'll never forget it. Like I'll just never forget it. I remember her crying one night from 6 o'clock in the evening until 2 o'clock in the morning, like
Wow,
just,
the poor
and
child.
she would, yeah, it was awful. Um, and it's funny actually thinking back to that time, because I can remember going to the chemist and trying everything, up there to help her, all the different drops and things, and nothing worked for her except for holistic medicines. So I actually contacted a chemist in Clonmel, and they made up their own family mixture tincture, and they sent it out to me in the post. They don't do it anymore. But it was like I can remember meeting the post woman at the door that day and taking the thing, and I like my hair was out here and everything, my dressing gown. I don't even know what time of the day it was, and I was like, please help. And
Oh
I put the
wow.
drops into her bottle, and like she literally burped and farted like a trucker. And there was all
Like a trucker.
got all of the wind out, and it literally like disappeared. Like her colic like
Wow.
was gone.
That's incredible.
Um, Unbelievable. So I kept her on those drops for a while, and then was able to, she was on foods then, and she didn't need as much milk. But um, so that was kind of my fertility struggles with Molly, and I people often say like, oh, would you not have had another one? And I kind of always say to people like, it's not always that easy, and people can just make comments, yourself, like, and they just don't think. But I did eventually conceive when I was 39, so in August, so about 3 years ago. And just like that, naturally, like it was a surprise. I was like, oh my God, but also so over the moon, because I just thought, oh my God, my body actually works. Like I didn't have to do
Yeah.
anything, I didn't have to take Clomid or anything, and this has just happened. And I was so happy. And in those couple of weeks, like those short couple of weeks, like I had that child's whole life planned out, like,
Oh,
just
Clara.
and then just one evening, I had got a little bit of blood, and I said to my husband, and I rang my doctor, and my doctor said, ring the early pregnancy unit. And I did, and they said to come in the next day. So I went in anyway. I had a scan. It was very early. So they said that they couldn't see anything, but that wasn't unusual at that time. So I had to go back again. So this period of time was like again went on for maybe 2 weeks, where I was going in and out for scans, and every time they scanned me, they couldn't see anything. I got back these pictures of like an empty room, and it said pregnancy of unknown location, and I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
and they were, am I pregnant or not? And they were like, yeah, you're pregnant, like you're getting pregnancy hormones and all, but we just can't find it. So now we need to figure out. And then my doctor at the same time was telling me, don't worry, like they didn't see my youngest fella till he was 8 weeks, till she was pregnant 8 weeks. So don't worry. So in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking everything's going to be okay. Like they'll eventually find the pregnancy. It's fine. So at that point, I was maybe 8 weeks along. So they were saying, okay, we're still not seeing anything, and they were asking me had I any pains in my, sides, because they were thinking, okay,
Mm.
maybe it's in the tubes. It's like, no, nothing, like literally nothing. I feel fine. So they were able to determine then with another scan that it wasn't in the tubes. So I was like, okay, where is, like, what is happening? I was so confused. Like I was like, what is happening here? Like, and they suspected that it was in one of the horns of the womb. So they were saying they could see like a mass, and um, the way you can see like basically life, and they were saying we suspect that it's there. And I was told that of the types of ectopic pregnancy that you can have, that this was one of the rarest forms. And I was like, oh, great, that happens to me. And so they wanted to give me, at that point, they wanted to give me I can't tell you the name, but the abortion drug basically that they
Okay.
give, and I was just like, no, like I'm not taking it. And I just couldn't like accept it. And I said, can you tell me for 100% sure that that's where it is, and that this baby has no chance? And they were like, well, nothing is 100% sure, and
Mm.
we wouldn't know until we go in. And I said, well, then you're going in, because I'm not taking anything. Like you need to go in. And they were like, well, look, if we go in, and in some way if it's viable, we won't disturb it, obviously. And but I think I knew kind of at that stage. I just remember my husband driving me into the hospital that day. Like Polly was 8 at the time, so it was August 2019. And like, no, but like I had the gym open at this point, so a lot of people, if anyone's listening to this now, they might be very surprised hearing it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Yeah, um that's where I was that time, like that I wasn't
Wow.
there for a week or two. Um and my husband was driving me in, and it just was just so upsetting to know that you were going in and there's nothing that you could do, like, to save it. No, nothing that anybody could do to save it. And after the operation, then the surgeon came up and was able to show me like exactly where it was, and he was like, it's just so rare that he said that it would have kept growing. I wouldn't have, only for I had gone in for the scan, I wouldn't have felt any pain because of where it was. It would have had a little bit more room to grow, but it still wouldn't have ever been a viable pregnancy. So he explained it all now, and he was really good. But he said that I had scar tissue then on my womb, so if I had wanted to try again, that I'd have to wait about 18 months, and that would have made me 41, nearly this age now, 42.
Yeah.
Um, before I could even consider trying again, and that if I did get pregnant again, that it would be high risk. If I felt any pains, I'd be brought in straight away. I'd be in and out of hospital, and I would have to be sectioned at 37 weeks, like whether or which. So it was like kind of a, I mean,
Double
what,
whammy.
yeah, and what, it's not really an option or a choice at that point. Especially considering the job that I was doing. It was like,
Yeah.
how could I go again and then be going in and out of hospital, and it would be high risk. I'd have to give up work, like basically. Um, so yeah, I can remember at the time though, even, and it's so awful to think about now, but just not being able to share that,
Of
or
course.
not feeling like I could. I didn't want to be going in and telling all my clients this, and so trying to not hide it, but just not being ready to share it and being obviously upset about it and trying to get back. But again, the same thing. I felt like I pushed myself back into work sooner than I should have. Like I literally
Yeah.
shouldn't have. But like a week later, I was back in the gym teaching classes, and I
Oh
shouldn't
wow,
have been
that's
at all.
intense.
But
Jesus.
yeah, yeah. So after that, then it was kind of like that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I suppose I kind of shuffled on for another few months, but I just knew like that that was just a bit too much there, like that I had to talk to somebody eventually. So I reached out to BetterHelp. Actually, it was first. I feel like a completely different person now, like completely different to who I was a year and a half ago. Like,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
and
I only know you like 2 years, a year and a half, and I feel like you're a totally different person and you
yeah,
look physically different. Like you
yeah,
just said you're 42. Like, okay, sorry, Clara. When I met you, even though you weren't in your like in the space you're in now, you still only looked about 20 and you still obviously look about 20. But you like you're so connected to yourself now and you just have this
yeah,
inner glow that is so obvious and you seem just more at ease and self-assured and it's incredible
yeah.
like
I look back on videos even from 2020, and I feel like I'm looking at a robot.
yeah.
I'm like who is that person? Like there's just no feeling or emotion, and it's like I always felt like as well I had to be polished and professional meant perfect. But that's like I have to be myself, like I have to be me, and it's like that's what I did through that work is just connecting me back to being me, and you don't have to be perfect to be professional. You just people connect with me. I always felt like my classes had to be good enough, and I had to have this and I had to have that, but not realize or not believing that people were coming to me because they
Yes.
wanted to come to me, like, and I was like I couldn't connect to that. I was like, no, that's not it. They're coming because it's convenient. They're coming because they're coming because that. I could never say that they were coming because they wanted to come to me, like.
Wow, wow, that's so interesting. But it's true because, like, I literally only said to Alan, I was like, "What's the drive from Castlebridge now to Rosslare?" Because I was like, "Can I get back to Clara's classes? I miss her so
Oh,
much."
oh,
But
oh,
it's amazing, and I'd say there's so many other people that are in that like automatic robotic state, and are probably that's the thing we put things down to be just our norm and we don't see that there's another way of being. How did you know
exactly.
like did you like you sound like even though you had difficulties and challenges that you actually are an intuitive person. I mean, you were called to do the kettlebells, then you were inquisitive to do kettlebell competitions. Like you are very in
Mm.
tune to yourself, I suppose. But do you think that's how you ended up seeking extra like significant help?
I think it's only looking back that I see those things. I didn't see them as being called to them at the time, like, but it's now looking back like that I realized that that was because I was so disconnected from my intuition. If I didn't trust myself, like I didn't trust I had no trust in myself at all. And it's only looking back that I can see that it was always there, like that intuition was
Mm.
always there. I just wasn't really connected to it, and I had to rebuild that self trust again. Um, and a lot of letting go, and um, like I haven't always been a spiritual person, like just kind of going to your question, like at all, like. But when I started kind of doing that work, it's like you just said a minute ago. It's like learning that there's actually more to this earth and this world than just us, like just these physical beings, like going around all day, on the hamster wheel, going to work, going to the gym, going home, making the dinner, doing the washing, blah blah blah. It's like opening yourself up as well, especially when you're healing from something, that there's there's more out there that's working in your favor, like your intuition, like the universe will bring people to you and situations to you to help. Like if you become conscious of it and aware of it, you can look
Mm.
for the signs and recognize the signs. And it was like, to me, that was so interesting, because all throughout my career, like I've always been interested in evolving and developing. It's just in my nature. Like I'm never happy to just sit and do one thing for too long. Like I always want to go to the
Meet your
next level.
sister.
Yeah, what else is out there?
It's a
Like I
blessing
couldn't
and a
just sit.
curse.
It is, it is. I feel exactly the same way. So I'm like, why can't you ever just be content to do something for a while? But yeah, it was just like a whole new world opened up, and like I'm a very grounded person, like, and I'm proud of that, and I like that about myself. But just you don't have to be like one or the other. You don't have to be all the way up in the clouds, like, to connect to spirituality. And that's what I feel like people are a little bit afraid of, that they only see extremes. Like you're
Yeah.
either unconscious, or you're like completely yogi,
Yeah, woo
completely
woo. Yeah.
crystals and
Yeah.
the whole lot. So there's like
I'm here
there's
with
no
my
in between.
windowsill full of crystals. Yeah, those crystal
I have, yeah.
weirdos.
Listen, there, and there's my cards over there and my incense, and but it's like it's just understanding as well that you don't have to be one or the other. Like you can
Yeah.
bring the two together. Like everybody can bring spirituality into their life, and everybody can benefit from it. Like it's not doing you any harm. It's only going to bring good.
So true. So true.
Mm,
And I feel like it is a lifelong journey, and you just constantly learn so much more about yourself, like
mm,
every time you do something that brings you back grounded to your centeredness, which is actually very much like the classes you are holding now, which I went to recently, and I'm dying to go to another one. So I suppose then, did you go on and do training in Prague? Is that
yeah,
what your next step
yeah.
was?
So we were doing it online all along. So
Okay.
the course was 9 months. So we were doing the training all along. From the first 3 months really was very focused on ourselves. So this is the 369 conscious creator journey. And it's very much about filling yourself up first. So filling your cup. So how can you help anybody else if you can't help yourself? You can't pour from an empty cup. So that was the first 3 months. It was one-to-one work with us. We were doing group work. We were doing loads of different things that were just working on all of our issues. Then we were working together as a group. So it was great to see, we're all each other's mirrors, like, and it was great to see ourselves reflected in other people. Um, so a lot of it was online. And then at the very end was the immersion in Prague. So that
Okay.
for me was a game changer, because online is brilliant and I love doing online work, but there is something totally different in the in-person work, like when you're in the energy, when you're in the room and feeling the energy of the people that are there. So I had only ever seen these girls online. I met them once in December actually of last year. One day we got together, and even that was my first time doing anything like that, like a cacao ceremony and constellation work and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my god, I just don't think I knew what I was going up for. Like I was like, I just thought we were going up to meet up and sit down and have a chat. And like, I mean, I came out of the place and I was like, oh my god, like my mascara was down my face, and we had just done so much in one day. I was like, what
Wow.
just happened? Like driving home, it was crazy.
Wow.
So I knew that the immersion was going to be special, and I knew that I was meant to be there. Like coming up to it, even though I had done all of this work for 9 months and all of this training, And I was like, there's something missing, like, and it was that I just had to go there. And it was that in person 5 days, like, so we did 9 months online, and it was in that 5 days that like so much changed for me, so much clicked in. All of the talking that we had done, all of the training that we had done, it was like it all just landed inside of my body, and the confidence and the self belief and the letting go and the just everything. It was just the self love, the connection, feeling the connection, the acceptance that this small group of women, like when we got to Prague, and we literally stayed in the studio on mattresses on the floor, Asian style. So there was five of us on the floor, and we had our little bed. They were really comfortable. I actually slept my brains out over there, so I had great night's sleep. And so it was an energy container like for that five
Wow.
days. So we did everything together, ate, slept, like told each other our deepest, darkest emotions, like
Wow.
everything. And so we were eating just high vibrational foods, really very light. So apples and fruit. Apples. Why did I say apples? I meant to say fruit. All kinds of fruit, cacao. Like before I went there, I would have the cacao if we were doing a cacao ceremony online. But it was like when I got there, I just enjoyed it so much. It's like it tasted
Wow.
different. It was like I don't know, before that I thought like my body isn't really accepting this, like, but when I got there
Whoa.
it was like it just accepted it, and I looked forward to it every day. And
Wow.
every day we had a different intention, so we had to set our intention for the day. Like, so when we were preparing the cacao, we'd all prepare it together and put our intentions into it.
Lovely.
So like, and it was very, very clear on what I wanted when I went there. I knew in my heart I was meant to be there. Even when I was driving up there, I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning, there was no cars on the road, and I was just like, the way is clear. Like, it
Oh.
was just the road, empty road ahead of me, and I was like, this is it. Like, I am going. And it was the time actually where all of the flights were being cancelled at the last minute.
Oh
And
wow.
I was like, I was just like, I just know that mine is not going to get cancelled. I know I'm going. I know everything is going to work out. And I got on the plane and took off, and I was like, yes.
Wow.
And yeah, when we got there, like literally just meeting the girls for the first time and getting to know each other, and literally we did a cacao ceremony pretty much straight away, and we were just straight into it. Like, we did so much over the days, emotional processing, a lot of constellation work, family constellations.
Hmm.
We were up at kind of past 6 in the mornings. We did a lot of yoga, breath work sessions. We did a holotropic breath work
Oh,
session.
amazing.
Yeah, we did a lot of body work as well. There's trauma stored in parts of your body that you just have no idea, like, and it can just pop out. And like, I've since then now I've become very interested in the body work. Is something that I would like to train in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd like to do more of that because I realized the power of it when I was there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, a lot of meditations, and it was like everything that we were doing as well was helping me, even when I was doing meditations, to go much deeper, like into that state and stay in it. Um, we did like hot and cold therapies. So we were going to the sauna. They have sauna ceremonies in Prague,
Mm.
and they're just like, I can't even sit for 5 minutes in the sauna over here. So I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do over here? But they were 12 minutes long, but it was like a whole performance. Like, they do performance with towels,
Oh
so they're
wow.
fanning the air. And then they have these big ice balls, but they have all essential oils and then different essential oils.
Oh
So they
wow.
put them over the coals, and then they're fanning it into you. So you're breathing it all in, and it's
Oh,
just
incredible.
amazing. But they've whole sauna ceremony, whole sauna, what would you say, facilities where it's just different types of saunas in there. And then there's a freezing cold pool that you come out obviously and you shower, and then you dip into this freezing cold pool, and then you come out and you shower, and you could go back in and do another sauna ceremony. So we were doing like maybe three. So it's that, like, we don't have anything like that here, as in therapy wise, like, that you could go, like,
No.
people would go there after work and spend the evening there. Like, you get a little
Really?
wristband, yeah, and they had like a little bar there, so you could get your lavender lemonade and sit
Oh,
off on these sun loungers, and you're looking out into the
stop.
trees, and it was
That
just
is the dream.
like,
Oh my
just
God, Clara.
and
There's
I,
our
and I can
there's our
remember,
business venture. We always say
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
work together. There's
definitely,
our
yeah.
business venture.
There's something in that. Um, but yeah, it was just like everything that we done over there. Even just the conversations with the girls. I knew that I wanted to. We had loads of opportunities, obviously, to speak in the circle, and it was tough. It was very because I can remember coming back and people saying, "How did your retreat go?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it wasn't a retreat. It was so
I
like
need
I
another one.
cried. I cried every single day, and
Wow.
I think I probably cried the most over there. But it was like before that, you'd never see me cry. Like I wouldn't. I can't remember the last time I cried before.
Really?
I was so shut off, like just that robotic state, like where I wouldn't allow and even if I felt it coming up, I'd suppress it straight away. Like I would never allow myself that. So it was like just even allowing that, like, and there was just so much to come up and get out, and everything that we did, like, so if we had an intention, one of the days, my intention was to let go. I want to let go, and like I really did it. Like I really followed it through. I didn't just say things I was going to do. I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do, and I did let go of a lot of stuff over there. Um,
That's so hard to
and
do. It's so
so hard,
hard. Like, it's been my
very,
intention for Manny's a breathwork session, and I get closer and closer, but it takes so long. Really
yeah,
does, when it's something that's like an old trauma that's been kind of dragging you and pushing you and blocking you in the wrong ways. And yeah, like it
yeah.
sounds so much like airy fairy, but when you're actually doing this
Mm,
work, like it's
yeah,
exhausting.
so exhausting, and like you're talking about now, an old trauma dragging you, and that's the way I was with the attack. Like, and it's like when it's
Mm.
something that you just can't make sense of. Like when you're just like, why would that happen? Like, why? What is the lesson? Like, what is the lesson?
Yeah.
And you can't fathom it, and you're like, I just
Yeah.
can't accept it. This is not something that I can accept. Like, and you just struggle with it for so long. Like, I mean, I carried that for 20 years.
Wow.
So to be able to let it go, like, was just, I kind of, it's never going to be okay. Like, it's never going to be like fine and dandy, but you have to look for like, I have to look for lessons. Like, what did I learn about myself from that? What did I learn about the world from that? What did I learn about what was going on in my life at that time? Like, so I just looked for anything that I could learn from it. Not about the exact experience itself,
Mm-hmm.
like the attack. It was like the things that were around it at the time. Like, look at those things and what could I learn? And then once I could pick up on those things, it was like, okay, now I can understand it more and just let go. And you
Huge.
have to, because if you don't do it, like I couldn't carry it anymore. It's like 20 years is long enough. I can't carry this around anymore. It's too fucking heavy, and I don't want to carry it around. Sorry for cursing.
No, you're fine.
um,
Everyone curses on my
I,
podcast.
and I just wanted to just let it go, and everything that I set out to do in Prague, I did, and everything that I wanted to leave over there, I left, and I came back
Wow.
like, I don't know how much lighter, but like just felt so much lighter and
And did your husband and
learned.
Molly and other people like see that in you? Could they notice the
Yeah,
difference?
yeah. A lot of people are saying this to me, like, oh my God,
Wow.
like you're just glowing, and what did you do?
Wow.
Yeah, but it's just
Just mad.
reconnecting to yourself before all those things, like because you're
Yeah.
still there, and underneath all of those things, like they don't define who you are. Like you're still you. Those are just things that happened to you, and the trauma then is what happens because of those things, but that's still not you.
Yes.
Like it's just,
Yeah.
you're
That was
not
an
that trauma.
event.
Yes,
Yes.
you're just not that trauma. You're yourself. Like you're the soul that's inside of you. You're the sense of humor that you have, and your smile, and your just your whole aura and your being, like. So
It's so great when I see women starting to engage in all of this, because even though I'm not a mum, it really makes me excited that they're going to be that type of parent that is so aware of all these different important aspects that perhaps
yeah,
other generations weren't. And I'm obviously not having a go at any other generation because we've all had our
yeah,
traumas,
yeah.
but
I
it's
totally
so great
understand.
to see that like evolve and get better like down the line. And yeah, I just
And
think
yeah,
Molly's so lucky. You're so brilliant.
like the generational trauma thing is so like it's so huge. I mean, and
Yeah,
you
it's
just
huge.
when you open your eyes to that and you start to see it, and you it's just it's a huge eye opener. Like, and you can just see like even the one-to-one clients that I'm working with now. Like we do a lot on that generational trauma, and everybody is doing the best that they can, including our parents and their parents and their parents before them. Like everybody is, it was all different times, and you know, everybody was doing the best that they could from where they were.
Exactly.
You know, where they were like it, and it's like our parents had their hurts and traumas as well. So did their parents. So nobody's perfect, and I'm certainly not perfect. Like I'm glad that I did this work now because
Hmm.
Molly is nearly 12 now, and it's a really important time in her life. So she's in sixth class, getting ready to transition to secondary school. So I'm trying to be there like as much as I can for her and be open with her about conversations about things. But still, like your mom is never going to be cool. So you know, I'll definitely have somebody there for her. It's just sometimes when you're somebody's mom, you're not even the best person to deal with those things for your own children, but you can just show them that you're working on yourself and be open with
Exactly.
them and be honest with them. I can remember Molly saying to me one day, and it nearly this is before I went to Prague, and it actually really, really, nearly broke my heart because I was driving the car and I was just driving down the road, and she said to me, I don't even know what I was thinking about, if I was just,
Mm.
driving along, and she just said to me, Mommy, are you sad? And I said, ah, and I said, no, I'm not sad. No, 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 I'm fine. I'm fine. And I can't remember, but I was obviously thinking about something. And she's so intuitive, like Molly's very intuitive.
Yes, she
But
must
she
be.
picked up on that. And instead of saying, maybe I am Molly and I just didn't realize, maybe instead that I was like, no, 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 I'm fine. And then now I still look back at that now and kick myself because I'm like, the next time she asks me, I'm not going to tell her, no, I'm fine. I'm going to say, yeah, maybe I am a little bit sad because you're denying the child's reality by saying that because she has sensed that. And then I'm telling her, no, you've sensed that wrong. But she didn't sense it wrong. She sensed it right.
Yeah, and she
So it's
knew
just
that she did. That's why she
knew
asked
that.
it.
Yeah. So, and she is very intuitive like that. So I just learned from that and from then not to do that again. Like, and you can be open with these things when you're not feeling okay and not trying to
Mm.
plaster a smile on your face all the time pretending to
That's
be okay.
yeah,
Like we're
that's
human.
such an important lesson in itself because definitely like especially women can't, well I say
Mm,
that but men do too, like pretend that we're more okay than we are. And I suppose it's even
mm,
harder having that extra pressure of being a parent because you want to be in your best, the best version of yourself all of the time, but that's just not life. It's not
no, it's
possible.
not. No, and also like just this pretending to be okay all the time, and
Mm.
because you're the mom, like you just see yourself as the mom. But I just think it's so important for our children to realize that we're people, like we're human beings, and to get
Yes.
to know us as people, not just your mom and dad. You know.
So true, so true. Is there anything
Mm.
like in particular that like helped you during the really difficult times, even I suppose since your training, because I'm sure you have so many more new tools that are worth sharing.
Yeah, so I found really the meditation, Aoife. I know it's a classic one, but that being able to actually connect to the inside space in your body, that it was somewhere that I never wanted to be. Like I just never, it was too scary to go in there. I didn't want to know
Mm.
what was in there. So it was just connecting to this. This is actually a space that you can go and that you always have access to. And it's a place that you can actually go to rest. When you actually get all of your stuff up and out and you talk about it, this is somewhere that can be actually be like it's inside your body. You don't need to go anywhere. You can just go in, and whatever is going on, just listen to it. What is it telling you? What do you need to do? What do you need in this moment? So it was just really connecting to myself again, and that's been huge for me. Like,
And it's so important also, I think I learned, especially going through the cancer stuff, like who to go to for certain advice, whether it's business advice, life advice, relationship advice. Like sometimes we just automatically think, oh, I'm going to go to my best friend, or I'm going to go to my sister or my mom because they're the biggest part of my life, but they're not necessarily
Mm.
going to be equipped with the, I suppose, most helpful information and advice for certain issues.
Because you could have a certain situation, and if you go to the wrong person, they're going to put the wrong energy into it. It's not really going to help. So yeah, you're dead right. Like you have
Yeah,
to. It's good to have somebody neutral, not a family member, not a friend, because they all automatically have a bias towards you anyway. So they might tell you
exactly.
things that you want to hear instead of
Yes,
what's the
they
truth.
do. They do.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
people generally mean well, like,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, so where can our listeners access your services, and like what exactly are you doing there? Because I find
Yeah.
it hard to keep up. You're evolving so fast.
Yeah, I know, and I need to slow myself down because I feel like I'm just
You probably won't
firing
though.
things out. No, I know. I'm like, you just need to like streamline it. So at the moment, so like a lot of coaches since the pandemic, I'm hybrid. So I
Mhm.
do online work and in person. So my online work, which is the most reach that I have, is I do the online. So it's fitness, nutrition, and soul coaching. So I have the Happy Side Effect program coming up now, starting in October. So I do online fitness classes. So some people just like enjoy the classes. They're three 30-minute classes a week, online. So they're done at 9 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I use like dumbbells and a kettlebell for them. And a lot of people just enjoy that. But if somebody was looking for more nutrition advice, like somebody wanting to improve their body composition and health, and also their emotional health, then the Happy Side Effect program is the one that I do. So it's an 8 week block before Christmas. After Christmas, I'll do another 12 week one. And then I do online as well. I am doing one to one coaching. So I'm only taking, yeah, so I have a small number of one to one coaching clients, and it's definitely becoming one of my favorite ways to work. It's so interesting to examine people's topics and help them understand it. And it's like going back in time to myself 2 years ago and catching that person's hand and bringing them along to where you are. And that's what I feel like it is. And I love doing that because I love kind of seeing on their faces like, oh yeah, geez, it's really interesting. I never looked at it like that. And I love it. Like I love that. And then my in-person work is the mind body classes that I'm doing. So with those classes, it is a longer class, so it's an hour, and I've kind of married some more like I like it. I just love balance. Like now that I find myself more balanced, I just love bringing that to everything that I'm doing.
Wow, that's lovely.
Um, yeah, so we start with the breath work. So like I know that people are working, kids flying around the place, after school activities, all sorts of things going on, and they're probably running out the door to get to class. So
Hmm.
the first 5 to 10 minutes, we literally sit down, hand on your heart, hand on your belly, and we just breathe. And we just put on a song and we just breathe. So we do different breath works. We might do the alternate nostril breathing or the ujjayi breath. And just get people to connect to, okay, I'm here in this room for myself for 1 hour. So I don't want to spend it off somewhere in my head, like I want to be here.
Mm.
And then we start to move. So we do a bit of mobility work. Then we do a little bit more intense kind of movements like squats and lunges, press ups, sit ups. So it is a workout, but it's a work in as well. So we have the
I
balance.
love that.
I love that. I love it as well. And then
Uh,
towards the end, then we kind of bring it back down. So we build the energy up, 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 and then we bring it back down with flexibility work. And then we literally will finish off with 5 minute guided meditation. So you're just turn off the lights, and people can bring a blanket, and
oh my
just like a
God.
body scan and just breathing and relaxing and getting you centered before you leave again.
That
So
is so gorgeous. I'm actually gonna
yeah, it's
walk to
like
Rosslare if I
yeah,
have to. That
like
sounds
it
unreal.
literally, it's like an experience, and I love it. I love like that as well. I love feeling the energy of the people in the room and seeing their faces, and you can just see them like after the guided meditation that they're just like ready to go to
Yeah,
bed.
I'd say so.
And it's just they've come and they've had their workout, but now they just feel like relaxed as well,
Back
like.
to themselves.
So you can check that out on my Instagram page. So it's Clara OC _connect. And then on Facebook as well is I think it's still coached by Clara on Facebook at the moment. I have to
Okay.
figure out how to change it.
Yeah, I know. IT is not my forte. So since you said you love the meditation so much
Mm.
yourself, we were going to do a little short guided meditation, if that's still okay
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
our listeners. So yeah, I'll let you take that away.
Okay. So the method that I use, and it is to get you out of your brain. So a lot of people, when they're trying to meditate, will just kind of go, oh, sit down and go, okay, I need to meditate. Just close my eyes. Just go. But it's not that easy, like, because if your head is busy. So I always start off by tapping. So tapping on your body. So tapping, bringing your attention to your body. So going up and down your arms, just sort of waking up all of your body. So you can tap, like, so you might feel disconnected from your belly. So it's like just tapping on your belly,
Yeah, mine is
tapping
dead.
on your back. Yeah, like you just kind of
No
find spots that
energy.
you're like, oh yeah, that's like not feeling, there's nothing there. Like, so it's just tapping on it, waking it up. Like you can take off your shoes and tap on your feet and
Yeah.
going up and down your legs. So you just start to pay attention to all the different parts of your body, and even up into your face. So like tapping on your face and just connecting with all the different parts in your forehead, on the top of your head. So just basically connecting to all the parts of your body and seeing what parts might feel a little bit disconnected, and on your chest and your heart center. And then shaking. So just shaking up your energy. So shaking your hands like really quickly and shaking, shaking, shaking. So when we want to connect to the inside of your body, you want to try to feel the energy moving. So it gives you something to focus on when you close your eyes. So we just keep shaking for a little bit longer than is comfortable. And you start to feel like this is going on a bit. Go another little bit. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Just relax. You can bring your two hands down. You can bring your thumb and your forefingers together. And you can close your eyes and just feeling the sensations that are in your body now after that shaking. So you should be able to feel energy moving in your hands and in your arms, and just paying attention to those energy flows. And then seeing as you breathe, so we're going to take nice deep breaths in and out. If you could draw that energy around your body, so taking big deep breaths in, and then very slowly releasing the breath, slow and controlled on the way out. On the inhale, again, seeing can you draw that energy up, 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 up your arms, right up. And exhale, nice and slow and controlled on the way out. And again, just continue with that nice slow breathing, as slowly as you can, fully inhaling right up to the top, pausing at the top, and then just really slow and controlled on the way out. And keeping your focus inward and on those energy flows in your body. And as you continue to breathe, seeing what other areas of your body you can connect to. So bringing your focus into your forehead and seeing if you can connect to how your forehead feels at the moment. Does it feel tight? Have you any tension in your forehead? And if you do, on the exhale, just releasing and letting go. And then breathing in again, nice and deep. And bringing your attention, your focus into your jaw. Seeing if you're holding, clenching your jaw, holding your jaw. And on the exhale, just consciously relaxing that part of your body. And then on the inhale, we're just bringing your attention into your neck. and your shoulders where we carry a lot of tension, a lot of our worries. And on the exhale, just consciously relaxing, letting go, releasing. And on the inhale again, moving down into your heart center, into your chest, seeing if there's any tightness there, any tension. And on the exhale, just relaxing, releasing, letting go. And on the inhale, then moving down into your belly where our emotions are stored, our emotion center. And on the exhale, just relaxing and releasing and letting go. And on the next inhale, then moving into your lower back. We carry a lot of tension in our lower back. Bring your focus right down in there into the lower back. And then on the exhale, just consciously relaxing those muscles, releasing. And on the next inhale, moving down into your hips. Again, our hips can carry a lot of stored traumas, tension that we don't even realize that we're carrying around. And on the exhale, just consciously relaxing those hips, letting them drop down, release any tension. And on the next inhale, now we're bringing your attention back up into your heart center. So take a big deep breath in, just connecting to your heart center, connecting in with your soul, and breathing out. And as you're here with your attention drawn inside into your internal world in your body, just asking yourself the question, what do you want from today? What is something that you want to do today for you? It can be something really, really small. You want to go for a nice walk for 10 minutes in the fresh air. I want to read a couple of chapters of my book. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to take very long. It just has to be something that you want for yourself. Taking a big deep breath in and making a promise to yourself to give yourself that one thing today as a priority. So you are not last on the list, you are at the top of the list. Doesn't matter what time you do it, but you will do this one thing for yourself today. And when you're ready, just slowly coming back and opening your eyes, ready to look after you as a priority today.
Wow. I loved that. That was so fabulous. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Clara.
Oh, you're so
It was,
welcome.
it was nice and different that you added a little bit of movement and
Mm,
energy, like excitable energy at the start. It really helps
yeah,
if you're not sure how that feels. It helps you gauge it. That's very good.
yeah. Because it's like, what are you looking for when you go in there?
Mm,
What do you look? Because you can feel a bit, especially if you were like me in the beginning, where you can't feel anything. Am I
yeah.
dead inside? Think I'm dead. So it's like when you shake up the energy and you can even get up and start jumping around, like really get it up and down your body. And then when you sit down, you can feel it much more. Like you can feel it in your feet, you can feel it in your
Yeah.
legs, and
The
it's like, oh,
buzzing.
this is the life inside my body, like, and it's like connecting to that, like, and just that helps you to go in then because it's giving you something to focus on. So you're not up here, your focus is down around your
Yeah,
body.
definitely. That's really, really good. You really have incorporated literally all your different trainings. I hope people definitely will connect with you online.
Yes.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to get down to your next workshop.
Yay.
And thanks so much for giving your time
Yeah.
today. It was so brilliant to have you. I'm sorry if I'm a
You're
bit croaky. I'm still getting over COVID, guys.
welcome.
But thanks again, and thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this week's episode as awe-inspiring as I did. As I always say, knowledge is power, and I know you've gained an abundance of both from this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can watch these episodes over on my YouTube channel, Breathe with Aoife. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review and subscribe to We Share, We Grow wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really enjoyed this episode, please donate over on my Patreon page, patreon.com/Breathe with Aoife, to help me gain the means to share and grow even more with you all. Thanks for listening.